So if you're looking for ways to improve your memory and concentration and, and really deal with some of the things such as brain fog and, improving your all-round ability to get things done, then I hope this information is really going to help you, because there are some really simple natural things that you can do to stack the odds in your favor and have your brain function the way you're really wanting it to function. And, it doesn't need to be that difficult. And yet if you don't deal with some of the things in the short term that are leading you to be sort of foggy headed and not feel right, then these are the same things that over time can produce long-term problems and put you at more risk of neurodegenerative disorders. So it's a good thing to sort them out right now. So what are some of the things that can really make a difference? Well, certainly there are the brain games. There is that if you don't use it, you'll lose it. So it's quite common that people, as they age, do see a bit of a cognitive decline, especially once they're retired and those sorts of things. So keep that mind active. Next, try some of the nootropic herbs. There's some very safe nootropics out there that really can make a difference in improving your focus, concentration, and even your memory. Things like bacopa or brahmi, that herb, ginkgo biloba can make a huge difference, and gochu kola. They're all great herbs and really, really have a long history of efficacy and safety. Of course, there are some of the other things such as caffeine and green tea extract and these sorts of things. These can be very, very helpful as well. Some of the other things are to deal with the underlying issues of health, making sure that you don't have a toxic bowel and a toxic liver. That can make a huge difference. Making sure that you have ample things such as B vitamins and trace minerals. That can make a huge difference too. Sealing your gut so that you don't have a leaky gut causing problems. Many fog, because of the gut-brain connection, there's so much foggy thinking that's caused by having an unhealthy gut. So there's all sorts of hints and tips. Those are just some ideas of what can really make a difference in improving your brain function, your ability to focus, your mental clarity, your concentration. So I'm Corey Sievers, and here in the Savvy team, we do believe that you can improve anything about your health and well-being if you just do a few simple things over a consistent period of time. And that's what we want to talk to you about here on this particular episode of Healthy Savvy Life. So we're here to talk about memory and concentration, and we're going to delve into some of those things in more depth. So, but first of all, when we're thinking about memory and concentration, when you think about it, we make a lot of jokes about all of the about brain fog, don't we? Hey, tell me your symptoms. Have you experienced brain fog? We've all experienced, having a little bit of a lack of mental clarity at times. But it doesn't. If it gets to the point where it's really affecting our life, that's when we need to do something about it. And so I like this particular cartoon here that when you can't think clearly, that's an example of brain fog. I guess when you go opening the fridge and you can't remember, or you walk down the hallway and you can't remember, or you lost where your keys were and you find them in some crazy location. This is all certain signs of brain fog and challenges that you might want to solve. Not sure what's going on with our lighting here on this particular camera. Oh well. So sorry, Instagram, we've got it going crazy there. But yeah, so brain fog can affect anybody at any age, and it can be signs of some of the underlying issues that I was just mentioning as well. So, but we make a lot of humor about brain fog and sparking up our brain. So, for example, this one that I saw. This one, I'm afraid that my brain has already left for the day. So if you feel like that, and many people that we've talked to in our community, they sort of say that unfortunately they get up in the morning and it takes them a while to get going, and then they get to work, and then they start getting the concentration going, and then the brain leaves early. They get home and they're exhausted, and then somehow they end up with a bit of a second wind later on at night, and then they can't sleep properly. Well, that's some indicators of some of the underlying things. So if your brain leaves for work early, leaves and goes home too early, then there are certainly some simple things that you can do to really improve your cognitive function, your ability to concentrate, your focus, your awareness about things going around you. And sometimes they can be just simple things that you can take as a supplement. They might be activities, but sometimes they're the underlying things that are affecting our all-round health. And if we solve them, we have a flow-on effect and a benefit for the rest of our well-being, as well as our focus and concentration. So, dealing with this issue of memory and concentration, and I want to give you some tips to help you beat that brain fog and really improve your focus. That's the goal of this particular session. So, in actual fact, we have 7 ways to improve your memory and beat brain fog. So, hope that is going to be beneficial for you. So let's get underway, go into a little bit more detail about these 7 ways. All right. Just a sec. We've got some, we have some glitches here in the system. Okay. All right. So the first thing to do is to try the nootropic herbs. So, you know, one of the things, it's like when we deal with the underlying issues, it's important that you look at some of the underlying issues that could have that flow-on effect of, you know, affecting your mental clarity and all that sort of thing. But at the same time, it's important to go, well, is there something that I can do right now that can very quickly help me in the short term, whilst I start to improve things in the long term? And that is very strange that I got this flashing, strobing light going on here with the guys on Instagram, which is a little bit weird. But anyway, we will continue. So thanks for your patience, those of you who are live with us here on Facebook and Instagram. So yeah, so there are certain nootropic herbs and nutrients that can really make a difference in the short term, whilst you start to do the long-term restorative work on your health. And so the first one is Brahmi, or otherwise known as Bacopa monnieri. And this has very potent nootropic abilities, and it's a key herb for rejuvenating the nervous system and the brain. And so it improves all aspects of mental functioning, including your ability to learn new information, retain what you have learned, recall information when needed. So it really helps to spark up all of the memory centers as well. So Brahmi provides, what's important about it is it provides somewhat of a 1-2 punch of benefits. While it supports brain function, it also has a stress relieving impact as well. So a lot of the times we can't recall things because we're under stress. There are things that go on and it just, you know, throws us so much that our memory disappears on us. Let us know if you've experienced that sort of issue there. So to get a bit geeky, I guess, about what Brahmi can do, it actually protects the hippocampus, and that's a part of the brain that's primarily associated with memory. But what it also does is protects the dopamine receptor dysfunction, so dysfunction in the brain. So that helps with that whole energy, drive, and mood, really. So Bacopa, otherwise known as Brahmi, very good for the nervous system. It's probably one of the safest and primary nootropic herbs out there, and we highly, highly recommend it here in the Savvy team. So then it moves on to another one that has had a long history of efficacy, and that is ginkgo biloba. So ginkgo biloba. And so we're here talking about some nootropic herbs. Number 1 on the 7 ways to beat brain fog here. So number 2 on these herbs was ginkgo biloba. Now it you've probably heard about it. You may already be taking it in some sort of a formula, but it's been used as a nootropic, cognition boosting and memory enhancing herb for some time. And you know, because again, historically people would witness, you know, cultures would witness the impact of a certain herb. Now we're starting to see science actually backing up the mechanisms of action and understanding why these things work for us. And that's certainly what science is shedding some light on, how this amazing herb is working. It actually helps to regenerate brain cells, regulate neurotransmitters, and protect the brain from brain cell degeneration. It increases blood vessel microcirculation, so that's, you know, really a blood flow to some of the very small vessels of the brain, and it even provides antioxidant activity, and that's why it's included in many antioxidants as well. So anecdotal evidence has shown that, you know, it has shown a long-term evidence of benefit. But what's exciting is that we're starting to see studies back up this, that it's beneficial for improving memory, adding intellectual zeal, really, and even slowing mental decline. So it's good in the now, as well as having a long-term protective effect. So it boosts brain health and function in several ways, but two in particular stand out. One is that cerebral circulation, that improving of the circulation to the brain. So ginkgo boosts several brain functions by improving the circulation into the brain area. And also cognitive ability and mental performance. Studies have shown that it also helps with mood and processing speed. So it's helping get the circulation in, but it's also sparking up you know, the neurons, so that there's actually improvement in your recall and your mood and your processing speed as well. So some of the top benefits that have been backed up by science: increases concentration, can reduce the risk of dementia and Alzheimer's, helps fight anxiety and depression, fight symptoms of PMS. Off the topic of memory and concentration, yes, but certainly they're in mood. Helps maintain vision and eye health, helps prevent or treat ADHD, improves libido, helps you with your headaches and migraines, lowers symptoms of things such as asthma, and can help to heal in the body as well. So good all-rounder, and so that's why you've probably seen ginkgo biloba as part of many other formulas. Certainly antioxidants, those sorts of things, because it does have a wide scope of action, really, but very good as a nootropic brain and, you know, memory enhancing and you know, concentration improving herb. Very good. So another one is gotu kola, and in China it's been considered somewhat of a miracle elixir of life for more than a couple of thousand years. But it has had a long history of being a cognitive enhancer, a mind booster. And again, modern research started to look into, you know, some of the mechanisms of action. And so what's good with gotu kola is that it can improve a lot of different aspects of brain health and function. For example, some of the things that have been looked at: memory, focus, mental energy, as well as dealing with anxiety and the ability to sleep. So this is gotu kola. And so by reducing anxiety and uplifting the mood, again, that benefits recall, concentration, and these sorts of things. And some studies have shown that gotu kola may bind together with receptors for GABA, a neurotransmitter, and that neurotransmitter reduces neuron activity and helps you, you know, have that more of a relaxed feeling. So therefore, it can have that, you know, antidepressant but mind-boosting effect. So it can be sort of, we could almost say that it's adaptogenic, and it helps us in multiple different ways. It's not simply stimulating in order to keep us, you know, keep our brain sharp, like mine needs to be more right now with things going wrong everywhere around me here at the moment. Anyway. So yeah, it's definitely worthwhile trying some of the nootropic herbs, and so that was number one in our list of things that we're talking about here, and so some of the other nutrients that are worthwhile knowing about: trace minerals. If your body is low in trace minerals, you're going to feel more brain fog. Liver, if your liver is overloaded and not processing chemicals and helping your body in its detoxification process, then that is going to have an impact on your memory and concentration. B vitamins. B vitamins there are several B vitamins that if you're deficient in, this can leave you feeling sluggish and moody and those sorts of things. Things such as the omega-3 fatty acids. If you're low in those, you can end up with significantly higher inflammation, and so that can be a problem too. Plus, of course, if it's not in your diet, then you've got too much of the inflammatory oils in your diet. Your body is very good with its crisis management. If it's got no raw materials around to build brain tissue, it will use whatever's around, but it's going to be a little bit of we could say it's almost like a bit of a shanty that it's building rather than a luxury home. So worth noting there that it's a lot of those general nutritional things that should be in our diet that we should be getting through our diet and supplementation, that if it's not there, our brain has to do something. And it's very good, our brain and our body is very good at triage, at doing the best it can, at emergency management, but again, we pay that long-term price. So number 2 is we could get healthy exercise. Exercise is starting to prove very, very important in terms of impact on the brain. So getting more exercise, and that also could be more exercise in terms of the use it or lose it side of things. So actually using your mind more, playing games, but really you don't need to play all the games on your smartphone or whatever. Be involved in a hobby. Be involved in social aspects. Connect with people. Don't sort of just I guess sit around and go into the numbness of just binge watching TV or whatever. The more you can be involved in projects and outreach and helping others and community and social interactions and those sorts of things. There's a lot of studies showing that helps with slow neurodegeneration, but in the now help you with your really with your concentration and mood and focus. So get healthy exercise for both the mind and the body. Now I would say watch your diet. Now, look, again, it's great. We could take some things to spark us up now. We can use the herbs, we can use minerals, B vitamins, and all this can help to improve our mood and our focus and our concentration in the now. But if we keep irritating the body and in our whole system with irritants from the diet, then that's going to cause problems over the long term. So what are some of the things to watch out for? Sugar, processed food, these can be a real problem. Any of the inflammation causing things. So the primary inflammatory things, chemicals, sugar, so all the artificial flavors, colors, etc., preservatives, sugar, the inflammatory seed oils, all the vegetable oils, and grains, most grains. So what happens is when most people give up packaged food, they often see a boost in their ability to focus and get rid of that background brain fog. So some people are able to be quite highly functioning through the brain fog, but there's just they say that when they clean up their diet and they get onto some basic nutrition, maybe some nootropic herbs, then they say that it's often, many community members have said that it's they could function through it, but it's like a fog lifted. And that's why the general reference of it is brain fog. Many people suffer from that. So they can sort of push and through their willpower really concentrate and everything, but it's a bit more difficult, and it doesn't need to be difficult. If you do a few simple things over a consistent period of time, you can really improve your memory, concentration, and beat that brain fog. So food sensitivities. If you already know you have food sensitivities and allergies, definitely worthwhile getting those dealt with. While we're on diet, also you'll want to include some of the healthy fats because the omega-3s are very anti-inflammatory and good for the brain tissue, and yet some of the other trans fats and too much omega-6 can be very too much of the seed oils can be very inflammatory and not entirely good for our full nervous system. So the next one would be to manage stress. And I mentioned that earlier in that some of these herbs both help to boost up your brain function and your cognitive ability, but also decrease stress and anxiety a little bit, which helps with recall. So manage stress. These days we have a whole bunch of things that can come in and stress us out. And this also then produces too much cortisol in our body, and that leaves us feeling wired and tired, and this it just, because it affects our mood, it can affect our body long term with burnout, but in the short term it can just affect our recall and have we can have problems there with concentration just because of that sort of like constant overarching stress on our system. The next thing would be to fix your gut. Now, there has been a well-established gut-brain connection. And so many mental disorders, behavioral disorders, all these sorts of things have been linked to a leaky gut, linked to damage in the whole gastrointestinal system. And also linked to a messed up microbiome, the bacterial colony inside you. So the more that you can make your diet support a healthy microbiome and also over the long term seal and heal your gut, the better off your brain function is even going to be. And this was an interesting situation when they look at it from the point of view of history. So once upon a time they would think that basically our brain controlled our bodies, and so the sort of thought was that all the nerves went from our brain down to control our body. And then when they started to discover that there are actually more connections from the gut up to the brain, they realized that there's actually a bit of a feedback loop going here. So yes, your brain communicates with your gut. That's why when you're stressed and anxious and everything, it can produce loose bowels, shall we say. So it can cause problems in our gut, or maybe for some people cause constipation. But when there's a problem in our gut, it also affects our brain. So getting onto a gut healing protocol can really make a large difference in your ability to concentrate and cope with stress and even improve your mood. So fix your gut. Next, I would suggest to get some quality sleep. If you're simply not sleeping well, then getting good quality sleep is probably one of the fastest ways to improve your concentration, your recall, your memory. So it's just, if we're running on fumes as such, if we're not fully rested, you know what it's like. Studies have shown that sleep deprivation can slow down our response time and everything. And so it's getting good quality sleep, and it's not necessarily the quantity, but it's the quality. And sometimes this is where you need to be mindful of being in front of too many bright lights before going to bed, so that you mess up the secretion of melatonin, which is the hormone that helps you to rest and go to sleep quickly. And that can also mess up all of the release of additional hormones such as growth hormone, etc. So, use some of the brightness apps on your devices to the nighttime settings and those sorts of things, or get some filtered glasses to filter out a lot of the blue light in the nighttime to help you get better quality sleep. We have some additional sleep tips available on the Savvy Team blog as well, so you can check that out. So also what we've found consistently is that when people are suffering from mineral depletion, trace mineral depletion, then the body doesn't shut down properly and get quality sleep. So sometimes just being able to use some liquid plant-based trace minerals just before bed can really help you with your sleep. This is on top of, this is even aside from using the nootropic herbs. It can just really help you to get that proper rest and recovery going at nighttime. So another thing from a quality sleep point of view, a lot of the research shows that if possible, what you're wise to do leading up to bed is to try to have, say, 4 hours from when you finish your last meal to when you actually go to bed, which is easier said than done in our day and age of being up into the nighttime. And so, but this is what a lot of the research into preventing cognitive decline looks at. Because it's actually what we want to do is we want to have time for the self-cleansing actions of our body to be sparked up. And this is the specific system that works our brain. Is you might have heard the lymphatic system, which helps carry away chemicals and clean up our body. But then there's the glymphatic system as part of the brain. And the more we can give a bit of time before bed, before we go to sleep, where we haven't eaten anything, the more we can support the function of our glymphatic system and clean up our brain. So get some quality sleep. And the last one here would be to balance up your hormones. And it's not the sex hormones that most people think of, but it's things like, okay, if you once you do all of those things, chances are then your hormones are going to function better. But it's like if you've burnt out your adrenals from too much stress and overwork and by being tired and not able to concentrate, that you drink too much coffee, for example. That can burn things up and affect your adrenals in the long run. Low thyroid function, so that can be a problem. But again, a lot of the times, if people will do a few simple things like minerals and eliminating chemicals, getting good sleep, getting rid of the inflammatory foods that affect these systems of the body, getting rid of chemicals, exogenous chemicals that are endocrine disrupting, then a lot of these hormonal systems and endocrine organs of the body really do start to spark up and naturally reach a homeostasis, reach a balance. So they don't need to be treated as such. They just need to be left alone and not attacked with all of the nasty. So you get rid of the toxins, you get rid of the endocrine disrupting chemicals, you get rid of the inflammation causing foods, and a lot of these things such as thyroid function start to actually come good. So but when you think about this whole issue of having of memory fog, brain fog, concentration, everything, understand that if you've been struggling with challenges with memory, inability to concentrate, that any symptom that you experience, it's not an enemy to be destroyed, but it's actually a sacred messenger encouraging you to take better care of yourself. So that's what we believe here in the Savvy team. So if you do a few simple things over a consistent period of time, then you can really reach that higher level of health and wellness. So just to share with you there what I'm talking about, what are some of the things? And you've got the gist of it as we've gone through so far, but what are these few simple things? If you simply look for many ways to reduce toxin exposure through diet, cleaning up your home, getting rid of chemicals in the home, altering your diet, that sort of thing, that will really help your brain function. Getting rid of heavy metal exposures, those sorts of things, that will really help over the long term. Increasing your nutrition, aiming for the 90 nutrients your body needs each and every day, and then optimizing the detox pathways and the rest of the systems in your body. You do those few things over a consistent period of time, and things will start to go really, really well for you. So I'll just check to see whether we have any questions or comments yes. So Trevor writes in, looks like my computer had brain fog. Yes, flashing things. I don't know, didn't know what it's doing. So, or maybe it's the operator. Maybe the operator didn't set things up properly. So anyway, so look, that's it's all about it's all about where you place the blame, isn't it? It's not it's we can blame it on technology, but sometimes it is user error. Let's face it. All right, so that does lead us to the end of this particular session. I'm just looking to see whether there's any other questions, but no, all looks good. So look, congratulations for being with us here on this episode of Healthy Savvy Life. So here in the Savvy team, we are all about helping you reach that high level of health and wellness, and we're encouraging you to be savvy. So what do we mean by savvy? This is what we mean. we mean astute, sharp, perceptive, and informed. And chances are, if you keep tapping in with the tips and hints we share on the show, you'll be just that. So until next time, it's Corey Sievers here, encouraging you to be savvy.